I used to think I was bad at chess, but then I realized I was just thinking about the wrong things during my game. I will demonstrate what to think about by playing a game here with my rating climb account. We are almost 1500 rating, and we are playing with the white pieces. I will play pawn to d4, and in the beginning, when I started playing chess, I was always thinking about ways to memorize certain variations, especially opening traps as well, or some gambits. But then I realized over time that it's actually better to just play a very normal, very solid opening, just developing pieces, putting a pawn in the center. And I don't even memorize anything anymore nowadays, and I am already at 2000 plus rating. What I want to do here is play pawn to c4, basically strike back in the center, but we do have to watch out. He has this nasty, nasty knight to b4 attacking this. I think there is a different way to protect against it as well, but pawn to a4 is fine, a3 is fine here, since we want to play b4 later anyways, and then usually develop the bishop here. So for the opening, I would always say try to just focus on playing solid moves, playing a logical, sensible opening instead of playing something very, very tricky that only works half the time. So we are just developing pieces, we can castle, and I think this is already looking quite great. I do play the same thing every time, so I always play this, which I call the Pegasus system, but it's more so an ID, an opening system, than it really is theory. And this particular variation, it has been a while since I played this, but this is something that I have seen before, I think. Although with the two pawns here, it is a little bit confusing. So I am just going to castle. There are some other moves as well, but I am just going to castle. Probably play pawn to b4. I think pawn to b4 is interesting, also taking away the square for the knight. And we have to develop this bishop. And that is now my main priority when playing chess. It's just focusing on all of my pieces and thinking, how can I optimize them? How can I improve their positioning? And just slowly, slowly improve with every move. And then eventually there will be some point where your opponent cracks and you can win something. Okay, that's a little bit of a strange move. I don't really know why he is playing that. Bit awkward. Okay, we could potentially push d4 at e4 at some point. We could potentially go in with the knight at some point, but I think I will first just do a slow improvement move. I'm always focused on these types of moves, improving the position. Now we have a better rook. Okay. It would be nice maybe to get a knight to c4 as well, because if we get the knight to c4, we have more pressure in the center. So I actually think I will be dropping back one square with the bishop. And you can see this is really a maneuvering game, but this is how I think about chess right now. Just optimize pieces, don't push too many pawns, although I did push some of them here, but this was to get a good development for my bishop. Okay, and I think now I can play this move, which is the knight coming in. I think that makes sense. We now have a knight threatening a bishop and also two knights threatening this square. So it's just about slow improvement. He is playing quite passively, and we will have to punish that. To punish a passive player, you need to optimize pieces and grab the center, and at some point push pawns in the center as well. What are we going to play? I think we can always activate a knight. We can always activate one over knights. And I could also activate my rook. Or move my queen and then activate a rook. He does have this square for his pieces. I will think for a moment what I can do here. What I think I will do is play queen e2. Looks like a little bit of a strange move maybe, because we are just moving the queen one square. But it does give us more opportunity to choose what we want to do with the rook in the future. And most likely the rook will want to go to this square. He is trying to be a little bit sneaky here, trying to set up a potential future checkmate. So that is something we need to take care of as well. Which we can do in multiple ways. At some point g3 might work, but right now there's not really any problem. It's just something to keep in mind. I was thinking that maybe we could always push this and then try to go in with the bishop. Get rid of the queen. But I think it is stronger once we already have the rook here. So you can see I'm basically still preparing. It's move 15 and I haven't really done much except prepare for a future attack. So he is really trying to go for this pawn, but I think we can just push it and that will eliminate part of the problem. We can also get rid of his knight. And in the future, if I need to, I can always play this second knight up here. So he is just making some, I think, useless moves, honestly. Yeah. What are we going to play? We will have to open the position at some point. I will calculate if there is some type of tactic here with this push. Because after they take, my idea was to play the bishop here, attack the queen, queen moves, and if the queen moves, I can win the rook. But if the queen, so if I push, let's say he takes, I play this and the queen moves here, then I don't have this move, and this move is met with the rook takes. So I don't think it works immediately. Other plan is to go back and then just push this pawn as well. Which is, I think, what I'm going to do. It's again a little bit of maneuvering, but that is my new playstyle, which might seem strange if you have never seen this, but we just want to keep improving our position as much as we potentially can. Okay, so he is going in with the knight. That is fine. We can potentially attack it as well. I just have to make sure that I always keep some defender here on this square. Otherwise we would be in huge trouble. Okay, so for example, taking with the knight would be a trouble. But now we are just getting into a position where he is basically helping me. He is eliminating his own attackers, and we will also get to double our rooks. So this is going to be a very slow strategic battle, but that is the way I like chess. So I think we can take this, and that doubles our rook. And now we have a clear target for attack. We have to try to see if we can attack against this pawn. That knight move, I think, is a little bit useless. I will play a4, attack it, and basically get some extra pawns going. Because I want to get something going here against his weakness. Probably even this move, pawn to e4, again taking away some squares. You can see how we are slowly improving. Not really doing anything spectacular, but you will see that there will be a spectacular finish to this game eventually. It's just about slow improving moves. Now we have this break, and this is becoming a real problem for him. He always has the counter checkmate, but I think as long as we get the knight, we keep the knight here, we never have a trouble. Okay. And a little bit earlier I told you a small story about how every single opponent will eventually crack. And with crack I mean make a mistake. And I think this is the moment where he cracks. Because he is basically blowing up his own position. And it looks to me like we just have a free attack going. But his position was going to collapse anyways, of course, because I could have pushed one of those pawns as well and then everything would collapse. So this is starting to look great. The only thing I don't like is that he has this knight infiltration. So that is something I don't like. So I think I am just going to play one more boring move, this one, taking away that square. Also, the knight is no longer needed as a defender since the checkmate threat is basically gone. Now we are eliminating this, and I'm just seeing if there is a way that we can make further progress. We do have some annoying things like his rook coming in here, but I don't think it really matters. He is moving the queen again. That's a bit strange. That's a bit strange. I'll play this cheeky move. It's just a small attack, small optimization as well. I could also just go back with the knight, by the way. That was a different plan, but he is trying to set up the checkmate again. We have to be careful. But I don't think it is going to work. I might even honestly just play g3 at this point. I'm not a big fan of pawn pushing, but it looks to me like his queen is getting into some troubles, and we might end this game with a beautiful pawn fork here, which I think is the case. I think it's the case, and also I think if he went somewhere else with the queen, he would also have been in trouble. There were not really any good squares, I think, for the queen. Because if he went here, no, he can't go there. Yeah, he basically didn't have a single move. That's what I thought, that he was trapping his own queen slowly. But the game is still not over yet. The game is not over yet. I will take the free piece. That is usually the best plan. But he has some sneaky sacrifice with the bishop, which might lead to some problems. And if I save my rook here, I get attacked. But it might be fine. I think, honestly, if I calculate for a long time, I should probably even be able to find a win here. But I am not going to waste a lot of time on calculation. I will just make sure that I don't lose. That's my key priority here. Let's just not lose the game to something obvious that we missed. That's what I mean. Losing is probably not going to happen anyway, but I don't want to lose to some obvious move, like taking this with the rook and then losing. I think we can take this and then maybe go here and propose a trade of queens. This is also protected, and if he attacks with the rook, I also go there. So I think everything works out perfectly fine. And a queen trade would really save me some misery. But I think I can also just take with the knight. No, if I take with the knight, that's terrible. But I think I can... I'll take this with the queen. Let's just not make it more complicated than it has to be. And let's also speed up a little bit, of course, because we are winning, but we are low on time, which is always the case when recording. I even lose games when recording that I sometimes don't even post, just because I play terrible if I'm so low on time. I just realized that all this time I could have probably also just activated the king, and that destroys all of his plans. And I might have some counter checkmate. But I am going to see if we can just trade queens. Trading queens would be magnificent, then we have an easy endgame. I could also try to play for some counter checkmate here. Don't know if it's guaranteed to work, but now we also have some threats, like attacking this bishop, also attacking this square, and maybe pushing this pawn on the next move. It's looking like it's falling apart for him. We can maybe activate a rook. Okay. I think he is again putting himself into some trouble. Also, this is looking nice. This pawn push might also work. I have to calculate. I honestly think that this pawn push, this should win the game. I think this should win the game. There must be something with the knight check, the king going to the dark square diagonal. This has to be game over. Maybe even sacking the rook because it's not really needed. Okay, now it's time to calculate checkmate. That's a check. That's just a trade with a checkmate threat. So probably he is going to take my queen. No, he is not going to take my queen. I guess we go here. And now he has to stop the checkmate. I don't know how that is possible. Maybe he goes here. Okay. Which means we can take this. But 39 seconds against 4 minutes, that's always the case when I record these videos. I think honestly even this move probably... No, I thought might have been a checkmate, but I think he always has some escape. I might be missing some tactics here, but forgive me for only having 39 seconds. Yeah, that should be easy cleanup. Well, I do say easy cleanup, but of course we only have 37 seconds. So I will need to pre-move. Okay, but he resigns. He is a gentleman.